Are you tired of waking up early to feed your cat, or do you work long shifts like me? If so, wet food auto feeders may be awesome for you. I have 3 different options here today that I'm going to be reviewing, from budget to luxe. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each of them. I'll answer the most common questions that I saw online about each of them. And I'll be talking a little bit about how to transition your cat to an automated feeder. Each of these were gifted to me by the brands. I have fulfilled my obligations for each of these, so this video is totally on my own. If you end up purchasing any of these wet food auto feeders, please do so with the link in the description. They're affiliate links and they help my channel out so much. Starting with the most budget pick, this is by the brand Rabelitto. This wet food auto feeder does not plug into the wall, and you need 4 AA batteries. The batteries are what powers the auto feeder motor, so you set the time and then you can set the feeding times. And the way that this one works is with ice packs, so make sure that you freeze the ice packs overnight. They say that this can keep food fresh for up to 12 hours. There's no app at all for this wet food auto feeder. You completely program it with these buttons here. It has probably the most simple interface of the 3, and it's the lowest cost. Next up is my mid-tier option. This is the UB Pet Refrigerated Auto Feeder. The budget option, the Rabelitto, is ice packs. These 2 options are basically refrigerators within themselves. This is the refrigerated part here. So it keeps food cold in the refrigerated section, and then the section that's exposed where your cat is eating, this one will be coming to room temperature. The way you program this one is through the buttons on the machine itself. There's no app for this one. And this one has 5 different compartments. The brand says that once you put food into this wet food auto feeder, the food is good for 24 hours. So this one, it was 12 hours. This one, it's good for 24 hours. Next, let's move on to the luxury option. This is the PetLibro Wet Food Auto Feeder. I have it with the plastic insert, but they just came out with one with a stainless steel insert as well. It's a semiconductor cooling, so it's like a refrigerator. This whole section gets cold except for the section where your cat will be eating. It comes with 3 different compartments in the insert, and the brand says that this wet food auto feeder will keep wet food fresh for 3 days, 72 hours. So the times on here are 12 hours, 24, and 72 hours. The way that this wet food auto feeder works is you have to program it with an app. I'm going to show you some screenshots of the app working right now. There are no buttons for this one. You have to program it with the app. What's really cool about this wet food auto feeder is that it will tell you how many seconds your cat has been eating. The technology on the PetLibro is really, really cool. I'm going to display my comparison graph here. Let's talk through it a little bit. We've got the Rabelitto. It has no app control and 4 compartments on the inside. The cooling is by ice packs, and it requires 4 AA batteries. The wet food safe time for the Rabelitto wet food feeder is 12 hours. For my mid-tier option, the UB Pet Auto Feeder, there is no app for this auto feeder. Again, you have to program it with the buttons on the machine. With the UB Pet, there is built-in cooling, and you plug it into the wall. The wet food safe time for the UB Pet feeder is 24 hours. And then for my luxe version, the PetLibro, it's controlled through the app, and there are 3 compartments inside of the feeder. The cooling is built-in semiconductor refrigerated feeding, and it keeps wet food safe for up to 3 days. The PetLibro has to be plugged into the wall to work. Next, I'll go through the pros and cons of each feeder, starting with the Rabelitto. This is my budget option that uses the ice packs. I like that this is a really great budget feeder, and for me, working long shifts, this would work perfect. I don't need cooling for more than 12 hours, so this would work. I like that it's cordless and portable, so you can put it anywhere in your home. The downsides are that it only keeps wet food fresh for 12 hours, and you have to freeze the ice packs, so make sure you don't forget about that. I would say the cons are that there's no app for this, and there's a limited freshness window of 12 hours. Next up is my mid-tier option. This is the UB Pet Auto Feeder. I like that this one has 5 different compartments. It has the most compartments out of the 3 that I'm testing here today. I like that it is a refrigerator in and of itself, so you don't have to remember to freeze ice packs. And I like that it keeps food fresh for 24 hours. I think it would be perfect if you had to go away overnight. Cons of this one is that there's no app or remote control for this wet food feeder. Also, it only keeps food fresh for 24 hours, so if you're planning to go away longer than that, this would not be a good wet food auto feeder. Personally, I have a cat sitter come twice a day when I'm on vacation, so that's not a really big concern for me. The way that I use wet food auto feeders are for my long shifts at work. Next, I'll get into the pros and cons of the PetLibro wet food auto feeder. Starting with the pros, I love the app on this auto feeder. I like that you can see every single time your cat comes to use it. I like that you can schedule all of the feedings, and if you wanted to remote open for early feeding, you can. An awesome feature of this one is that it will rotate to the next meal 30 minutes before the feeding time. So this helps to let the food come a little closer to room temperature. And if you have picky cats who don't like cold food, I think this one would be your best option. The cons of this one are that it can only be programmed with the app. There's no buttons for you to program, so if you're not the most tech-savvy person, maybe this isn't the greatest option. It's also the highest in price. Next, I'm going to get into the Q&A section of the most common questions that I saw online for these 3 wet food auto feeders. Question 1, can I use dry food in these feeders? Yes. All 3 of these wet food feeders you can put dry food in. You can also use these for medications. If you're going to use it for medication, I would recommend putting it in a really high value treat like a chew-roo. The PetLibro is awesome if you're going to be doing this for medications because the app will tell you how long your cat has been eating for. So if they're completely skipping one of the medications, you will know from the app. Next question, do these need to be plugged in? So the UB Pet and the PetLibro need to be plugged in. The Rabelitto is run on 4 AA batteries. What if my cat skips a meal? Will the food stay fresh? So the food will stay fresh for 12 hours for the Rabelitto, 24 hours for the UB Pet, and 72 hours for the PetLibro. So if you come home from work and there's still food left in the tray, you can take that tray out and still feed them that food as long as it's within that window. Next, I'm going to get into some tips for making your cat more comfortable with the transition to a wet food auto feeder. First, I would start by just leaving it out. Leave it out in their normal feeding area for 24 hours or until they seem to be comfortable with it. Then once your cat is comfortable with it completely off, I would plug it in. These 2 do have some sound. The Rabelitto is completely silent except for when it's turning. These 2, because they have a refrigerator in them, they do let off a really light hum. So I would turn them on and just leave them out for another 24 hours or until your cat feels comfortable. Then to make them really happy and excited about the feeder, I would use these as treat dispensers first. So even if you're just going to put 1 treat or a few pieces of kibble or some chew-roo, that will make them associate happy times with the wet food auto feeders. When you're transitioning to a wet food auto feeder, I would put most of their food, if not all of their food, into the auto feeder. If they have other options throughout the house, they're going to choose the more comfortable option. But if you're okay with challenging them a little bit, I would put all their food in the wet food auto feeder. Keeping the feeders nice and clean will make your cat more comfortable using them, and I would recommend placing them in the same place where you normally feed your cat. And ultimately, it might just take some time. Agnes took a few days to a week to get comfortable with an auto feeder. I mostly use the PetLibro because I like to see how much she's consuming while I'm at work. And it did take a few days for her to get comfortable with it. Give it time, keep feeding them through the auto feeders, and if they really need an extra push, just add more treats in there. It's worth it, right? So which wet food auto feeder is right for you? If you're looking for a more budget option just for long shifts, I would recommend the Rabelitto. If you're looking for the most feedings possible, I would do the UB Pet because there are 5 different compartments in this one. Last, if you're looking for the longest freshness, and if you really like that sort of smart pet technology, which I love, the PetLibro would be a great option for you. All 3 of these feeders are perfect for wet food, dry food, and for medication. Again, if you end up purchasing any of these wet food auto feeders, please do so with the link in the description. They're affiliate links and they help my channel out so much. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.